Those are the headlines in our top focus. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have unveiled a new peace plan for Gaza that aims to end the nearly 2-year-long conflict in the region. The 20-point plan, which has gained Netanyahu's full support, includes key measures such as a ceasefire, a swap of hostages for Palestinian prisoners, a staged Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, the disarmament of Hamas, and the creation of an international transitional government to oversee Gaza's reconstruction. While the announcement sparked cautious optimism in Israel, especially amongst the families of hostages held by Hamas, questions about whether Hamas will accept the plan still remain. Let's in fact listen in to some residents and their reactions.
אני יותר אופטימית, למרות שאני קצת פוחדת עדיין להיות כל כך אופטימית. אני פוחדת לא להתאכזב שוב. אני ממש פוחדת, אנחנו למודי סבל וניסיון רע מאוד של עסקאות שנרקמו והתפוצצו לנו בפרצוף. אבל אני רוצה לשמור על אופטימיות, שאולי סוף סוף הסיוט שלנו ייגמר.
We are trying to be optimistic today. We were very happy to hear what Trump said. We were happy to hear that Trump saw us, that he heard us calling for ending this war and bringing all the hostages, the lives and the dead, home.
אם רוצים באמת לפתור את הבעיה גם עבור העזתים וגם הישראלים, הפתרון הכי טוב זה מה שטראמפ יצא לפני כמה חודשים, שהוא טרנספר. זו בעיה שמתמשכת, זה כדור חם שאנחנו מעבירים אחד לשני כל הזמן. לבוא ולהגיד, להקים שוב פעם סוג של מדינה פלסטינית או רשות כזו או אחרת, זה שוב פעם לדרדר את הבעיה לכמה שנים הבאות. אני באמת מקווה שטראמפ וגם בנימין נתניהו חושבים על, יש להם את המידע והם חושבים בעומק על איך לפתור את הבעיה אחת ולתמיד. אני גם חושב, גם עבור העזתים שהדבר הכי טוב עבורם זה לעבור למקום אחר, וגם עבור ישראל. בסוף הסכסוך הוא סכסוך דתי, וזה לא משהו שיפטר על ידי הסכם כזה או אחר.
Meanwhile, President Trump has warned that if Hamas rejects the plan, Israel will have full backing of the United States to take whatever action is necessary. Now, the plan's success hinges on Hamas's response and whether broader regional support can be secured. We do know that the Arab Muslim nations have come out and supported and backed this particular plan. With us on the broadcast is Mohammed Osman, International Relations Specialist, joining us from Cairo. Thank you so much for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. At the outset, I'd like to ask you, are you optimistic about this particular announcement that has been made, this deal that has now been floated by the Trump administration? And in your assessment, is it a long-term solution that could lead for lasting peace?
Thank you for having me, Pia. Greetings to you and to your audience. I am very cautiously optimistic, extremely cautiously optimistic, and I cannot stress that enough, because of course, even though this is a workable plan, this is a plan that might actually be implemented. It is far from perfect. It is far from being fair. It's not even a good plan, to be completely honest with you. However, it is much better off than what was being proposed by the Israelis, which was basically the annihilation of whatever remained of Gaza, the depopulation of Gaza, and its reoccupation, basically sabotaging any future potential or future chances of the resumption of the peace process and the establishment of a Palestinian state in execution of the two-state solution, which is basically stipulated now by international law and enjoys the consensus of the international community. So this plan, with its flaws and its shortcomings, is the best that could be achieved under the current circumstances and within the current international geopolitical landscape. it seems that Israel has been pressured into accepting this plan by the Trump administration. If it was up to Mr. Netanyahu, he would have just resumed his war, which is still ongoing, by the way, because some people are acting as if the war is over. It's not, because we have not heard Hamas's response yet. Everyone now is anticipating how Hamas will respond to this, whether they will act responsibly and be realistic and be ready to make the necessary sacrifices for the greater good of the Palestinians and to alleviate their suffering, or whether they will be very narrow-minded and reject this plan, which will be a disaster for the Palestinians and for regional security, and will immediately exonerate Netanyahu from any wrongdoing or any responsibility with regards to his previous impediment of attempts to peacefully settle the war in Gaza. So now it's up to Hamas. Hamas is being subjected to very strong pressure from Arab mediators like Qatar and Egypt, especially Qatar. It has been reported that Qatar even threatened to kick out Hamas's leadership, what remains of them in Doha, if they do not interact positively with this proposal by the President of the United States. So now it remains to be seen whether Hamas will accept, and even after, if Hamas accepts, and there is a great chance that they might do so, there will still be immense challenges on how to implement this plan, to be completely honest with you, Pia, because we have a very bad record of Israel not abiding by many of its commitments under many agreements. Israel signed off to an agreement for a ceasefire in Lebanon that obligated it to withdraw from southern Lebanon. This did not happen 1 year after the agreement now. Israel stayed way beyond their 60-day time limit for the pullout, and they still occupy significant portions of the border area between South Lebanon and Israel. So I'm afraid if we see a repetition of this in Gaza, it would be disastrous and detrimental for the success of the Trump plan.
A quick follow-up to your analysis. The plan provides for a technocratic Palestinian committee and also the creation of a board of peace. What role do you see these bodies playing in case Hamas does accept the plan in terms of post-war reconstruction?
I think that the plan is very clear within this regard, that there will be a committee, a Palestinian committee, that will take on the governance of the Gaza Strip. It will be composed entirely of technocrats. Maybe one or two representatives of the Palestinian authorities will be part of this committee. However, they will not lead the efforts. And of course, it will be supervised by the so-called Board of Peace, which will be presided over by President Trump himself, and the board also will enjoy the membership of several regional leaders without specifying who they are. But we do know that Mr. Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of Britain, will be on the board. So probably, since he was mentioned in the media and now by President Trump, he will have a central role in being the de facto governor of Gaza in the post-war period. And by the way, even according to the plan, Pia, and to the sources we have read and even spoken to, the plan will be implemented whether Hamas accepts or not, because what has been said is if Hamas does not accept, then what President Trump called the terror-free zone, meaning the areas that do not have any Hamas control anymore, the plan will be implemented in it, and the governance of the committee that is stipulated by the plan will begin in these areas. So we are seeing that the Americans are bent on implementing certain realities, whether the Palestinian faction Hamas likes it or not. And I think that most of the Palestinians would support such a plan, and also the Palestinian Authority, the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, the officially recognized government of the state of Palestine, which is now recognized by 159 countries all around the world, has accepted the plan, even though it is far from perfect, even though it undermines its own rights to immediately govern the Gaza Strip as part of the state of Palestine, which is recognized by the international community, yet it is being pragmatic and being realistic, and they are positively interacting with the Trump plan, because the alternative, Pia, is more carnage and a resumption of the Israeli genocide.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking some other